Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Thursday, the 15th of February. Good to have you aboard. Part of the Believe Podcast Network, presented as always by Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys. 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. And of course, even though football is over, Bet Online continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs. That includes pro and college hoops all throughout the year with up-to-the-minute odds, stats, trends. You can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or mobile devices. Head to BetOnline today to become part of the team. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. Glad to have you with us. Thanks to anyone who listened to me last night on ESPN Radio Game Night and this morning as I made an appearance on my man Jonathan Coachman, AB Allen Bell, Driving the Line, where we give out the sports betting picks. Those guys every morning live on YouTube, youtube.com/@drivingtheline. They're giving out picks every single day. It is a sports betting show. And when they have me on, we get to mix in a lot of the sports talk. I give out picks also. You could always go back and watch that. youtube.com/@drivingtheline. I'm on every Monday, and they sprinkle me in throughout the week like I did today, and I'll be doing tomorrow. We'll do a bunch of NBA All-Star props and all that stuff. So join us there. It's another place that you can catch me, and you can catch me live every day. Every day I do it. youtube.com/@drivingtheline. So obviously, the only way that we start the show today is with the bullshit that happened in Kansas City yesterday. And I woke up from a nap yesterday, and because I was doing game night last night, it starts at 10 p.m. So I got to get in a schluff at some point during the day. And I wake up from a nap, and I see that there's been a shooting at this parade in Kansas City. And, for us down here, it comes on a day, 6 years, right? 6 years to the day, where February 14th is the anniversary of the Parkland massacre, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. So this is an awful day for all of us down here in South Florida. And while this wasn't a school shooting, thank God, we don't even have is it a mass shooting or was it people who had a disagreement? We don't even know. Thank God there were a bunch of kids who were shot, like 9 kids. All of them are expected to be okay and make full recovery. As of right now, there has been 1 confirmed death. But there really isn't even a whole lot to say about this because, my father told me this a couple years ago, and he's 100% right. You're going to get all the thoughts and prayers, which is such bullshit. You're going to get the stuff out there that doesn't equate to anything, to any kind of change, because nobody cares. Nobody cares. And when I say nobody cares, I don't mean that no one actually cares about what happened. I mean, nobody cares to do anything about it. Nobody cares. And, my father said this a couple years ago, and I'll never forget because he's 100% right. When Sandy Hook happened, and you had little kids murdered, and we didn't do anything about it, that was the end. That was the sign that nothing is ever going to change. Nothing's ever going to happen. When we, as a people, when we as a country watch kindergartners mowed down in cold blood, when we watch children murdered, and we don't do anything about it, it's over. That's when you knew. We could fight for change down here, which, thank God the parents of the Parkland massacre, they really try their best in trying to get some real change. But when we, and when I say we, I mean at the highest level of government, when we were okay with children being murdered, that's when it ended. That's when all of this talking about change with gun violence, that's when it all became just a moot point. Nothing is ever going to get done. Never, ever, ever. So you could do all your T's and P's. You could do all your thoughts and prayers. It really doesn't mean anything. So the way that I have to look at it when this happens, instead of calling for change, because again, there will never be change. When we're okay with kids being murdered and we don't do anything about it, there'll never be change. So I don't get here and try and talk about change, and it becomes, the whole political situation becomes weaponized when we have something like this. One side wants this, the other side wants this. It's not even worth debating for me. It just comes about, the way that I end up reacting to it is, I'm just glad these kids who were shot are going to be okay. Because the other stuff, it's not even worth talking about. Nothing is going to happen. Nothing is ever going to change. And the rest of the world, if it wasn't so sad, they'd be laughing at us. They're not laughing at us because people were shot. They're not actually laughing. But if it wasn't so sad, they'd be laughing at us. We're the only country where this shit happens. We're the only one. And, is it guns? Is it people? We got bad people, man. We do. We got bad people. But there are bad people everywhere. There aren't as many guns everywhere. We love our guns in this country. And the rest of the world, they look at days like yesterday, and it's an embarrassment for us. We are the worst. We are the worst as a country when it comes to this. There's a lot of good things about this country, but overall, we are the fucking worst. And days like yesterday are what that's all about. I believe, I don't think that we are going to have these outdoor parade and celebrations anymore. I think yesterday ended that. By the way, did you see the size of the fucking guns that they were picking up? When that one, you had a couple fans who tackled one guy who was running away, and the gun that was left behind, it was a cannon. The guns that were brought into this open area, I guess, where this parade was, I think it's over. I don't think we're going to see these parades anymore. They're going to be in arenas and in stadiums. And unfortunately, if it's in a stadium, you can get 50, 60,000 people in there. But some of these parades get up to 1 million people who live in this city. I think it's over. I think they're going to be in the stadiums where you have a controlled environment so you can't get the weapons in, and it's all contained. I think at least for the time being, I don't think we're going to see these parades anymore. I think it has to be in a safer environment now because we are so fucked up as a country. We are the worst. There's no other way to see it. And who, again, like I said, who cares about the political aspect of it? Take our guns, right to bear arms off. It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter because once the children were murdered, and this was back in the early 2000s, right? Once the children at Sandy Hook were murdered, kindergartners were killed, and we didn't do anything, it's over. This conversation ended. It ended. They're never going to do anything about it. So it's not even worth discussing. That's why when yesterday happens, all I care about is thank God these kids are going to be okay. 9 children, right, I believe it was? Thank God. And it's a shame that this woman was killed. It's a fucking tragedy, and we are the worst. So a lot of great things about this country. But overall, because of this stuff, we are the worst. All right. I don't know how to transition. It happens in the middle of the day yesterday. You got live broadcasts that are out there. We started every hour on the show last night on ESPN Radio Game Night. Started every hour talking about it. And it's funny because we do the first segment. We start the show at 10. I'm doing it with Emmett Golden last night. Q Myers was out, so it's me and Emmett Golden, which is always funny because Emmett's a Cleveland guy, and I do shows sometimes with Aaron Goldhammer, who of course is a Cleveland guy, and I do shows with these Cleveland guys, and you go back to a decade ago with, the Miami, Cleveland, LeBron, all that stuff, and oh my God, I was so mean to these people. I was so mean to these people. I was so mean to that city. And now I do shows with these people every now and then on ESPN Radio, and they're so nice, and I really like working with them. And I look back, and listen, that's, it's almost 15 years ago. I was a different person. I was in my late 20s at that point. I'm in my early 40s now. I was a different person. Now, I'm not saying that I regret my behavior back then, because I really don't regret it. But man, like, I was so mean to these people. I was mean to these hosts. I mean, Goldhammer, who I'm working with this Sunday, doing ESPN Radio Game Day. I was so mean to him back then. And he knows it, because he used to mention me on his show. He knows how mean I was. So it's funny that now I work with some of these guys from Cleveland. So I'm doing the show last night with Emmett Golden, and we get done with the first segment. Producer tells us, really good job, guys. Excellent job. And I said to her, I go, like, did we do a good job? Because it's so hard to, especially doing a sports show. Did we do a good job? Like, you don't even really have the words. Like, am I doing a good job now? I don't know. Am I doing a good job these 10 minutes to open up the show? I really don't know. And because you don't know what to say. And the whole thing is fucked up, man. So we did we started each hour last night talking about it. And you know, I'm doing Amber and Ian tonight. So I'm with the homegirl Amber Wilson from 7 to 10 p.m. tonight. And we're probably not going to talk about it because it was yesterday's news. And that's exactly how it actually gets treated. Is now we're not going to talk about it anymore. Because that's, you know, it's old news. We're so used to it. We're used to it. And we're the worst. We are this country. We are just the worst. All right. Let's get to what happened last night. Easy transition, right? All right, so what stood out from college basketball last night, number 13 Auburn killed number 11 South Carolina. Big-time SEC matchup, 101-61. That's the only thing from college basketball that stood out last night. A bunch of things here from the NBA. So the Kings and all these teams, well, not all of them, but most of them, that Wednesday's always a big night in the NBA because Thursday you hardly get any games because of TNT. Tonight, though, last games before the All-Star break. Last night, Kings 102, Nuggets 98. Nuggets are going into the All-Star break, losers of 3 in a row. So for the world champs, they're in like that malaise part of the season that the Heat went through. When the Heat lost 7 in a row, it happens to every team. And the Nuggets are going through it right now. They're glad that the All-Star break is here. The Lakers beat the Jazz 138-122. No LeBron, because he has to rest before the break. And LeBron, during the game, granted not playing because he's resting before his break, going into the fourth quarter, he tweets out 12 more minutes. Woo! So he can't wait for vacation. The Clippers, 130, Warriors 125. You had a whole thing go. The Clippers came back down double digits in the fourth quarter. Bad loss to the Warriors. Really good sign, though, for the Clippers because James Harden was excellent. And the Warriors blow that game. They blow a huge performance from Stephen Curry. Klay Thompson, the video's all over the place. A boneheaded play where the Warriors, they cut the lead to 3 with 39 seconds left. 39 seconds. So they have a chance here to defend. Klay Thompson with the intentional foul in the backcourt. You see Steve Kerr yelling, no foul, no foul. And his response, he was apoplectic when Klay Thompson commits the foul. Like, are you paying attention to the game? You're down 3. There's 39 seconds, not 9 seconds, 39 seconds. Commits the foul. He has been horrendous this year. And he was horrendous last night. And he essentially cost them the game last night. So one of my picks today on Driving Line, my official crew exclusive pick, was Klay Thompson under 16.5 points tonight. He's a very emotional player. He's very sensitive. He blew the game for them last night. He was horrible anyway, 1 of 9 from 3. I'm going under 16.5 points. Klay Thompson tonight. Warriors at the Jazz. Klay Thompson has been under 14 points, 14 or less points, 5 of his last 7. So I'm giving you the crew exclusive pick from Driving the Line right here on ZASLOW Show 2.0. How you load that? So there you go. Also, Celtics beat the Nets by 50 last night. Jacques Vaughn's going to get fired. I could see it happening at the All-Star break here. Lose by 50? Jacques Vaughn's going to be fired. That Brooklyn Nets team is a major underachiever. But the big story in the NBA last night, right? Suns 116, Pistons 100. What? Why is that a big story? Isaiah Stewart, Pistons center, arrested last night because before the game, hours before the game, when the team's arriving at the facility, Isaiah Stewart and Sun center Drew Eubanks, some kind of back and forth, they're chest to chest, they're jawing at each other, and Isaiah Stewart apparently sucker punched him. He gets arrested for assault. Drew Eubanks was fine. He played last night. Isaiah Stewart was inactive anyway. He was arrested because it's assault. Not on the basketball court, not to work. It's assault. The NBA, Isaiah Stewart's a maniac. You may remember a few years ago, it was in 2021, when he had to be held back. He was trying to run all over the court to get at LeBron and fight him because he got bloodied. He's a maniac, Isaiah Stewart. And it's one thing to fight in game. You can't fight on the loading dock. You can't fight in the arena bows. You can't fight outside the floor. Can't fight anywhere. But the NBA is going to I think they're going to make a major example out of him. I think you're getting a major suspension coming. And when I say major suspension, I think at least 5 games is a major suspension, right? I think he's getting at least 5 games and a hefty fine. The NBA is going to make an example out of Isaiah Stewart. What caused the fight? I mean, hours before the game, different teams. Isaiah Stewart, Drew Eubanks. What caused the fight? God forbid you get a reporter after the game who tries to get to the bottom of it. But Isaiah Stewart arrested yesterday for throwing a punch at Drew Eubanks before the game. Ridiculous. And that right there is a little bit of what happened last night. All right. Now, Heat, Panthers got that double dip last night. You know what we're talking about. So I told you what the schedule was last night. Heat game at 7, Panthers at 7:30, ZASLOW on game night on ESPN radio. And then, after I did the show, you know how we did. Sat down on the couch, cracked open a Johnny Cuba to wind down before I go to bed. That's right. Johnny Cuba, official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0. European roots with that Caribbean soul. A refreshing German lager in a can. Pick up a 6-pack of Johnny Cuba for yourself. That's how you can enjoy the Panther game tonight. Maybe you'll listen to me with Amber Wilson doing Amber and Ian on ESPN Radio while you're enjoying a Johnny. Pick up a 6-pack of Johnny Cuba, your local Sedanos, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. And when you enjoy a Johnny in the comfort of your own home, that means you're drinking responsibly. And of course, don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. So it is Thursday, which means we do have a mailbag. We have ZASLOW Show 2.0 mailbag. We'll get to that coming up. First, though, Panthers, Heat, double dip last night. That's what I'm talking about. Let's start things off here with the Panthers. Panthers on national TV. You know I love that. I love when the rest of the country, and by the way, Kenny Albert joined us yesterday. He had the call NHL on TNT last night. So if you missed any of that, you can always go back, ZASLOW Show, youtube.com/@ZASLOW Show, or just go back to yesterday's podcast. Kenny Albert, always great. He joined us yesterday. We did a little on that. But the Panthers, national TV last night, kicked the shit out of the Penguins. It's a scoreless game after the first period. We get to the second, and now the Panthers, they get going.
And Forsling winds up with it. Here's it ahead for Florida. Penalty is over. Rodriguez out of the box. Here's Rodriguez moving in across. They score! Rodriguez right out of the penalty box sets up Matthew Tkachuk.
Matthew Tkachuk makes it 1-0. Beautiful feed. Puts the Panthers up. 36 seconds later, I think it was. How about Jonah Gadjevich with his second goal of the season?
The goal coming just 6 seconds after the penalty expired. Here's Montour with a shot. Score! Deflected in front.
That's right off the deflection from Brandon Montour. Shot from the point. And now the Panthers are now they're cooking with gas. Up 2-0. Shortly after that, still in the second period, Aaron Ekblad cashes in.
Battling with Sam Bennett. Puck comes back out. Ekblad has some room. Moving in. Shoots. Score! 3-0 Florida.
Now the Panthers are just being greedy pigs. Now they're pouring it on still in the second period with his 5th goal of the season, Anton Lundell.
2-time Stanley Cup champion with Los Angeles. Had it stripped. Cousins. Lead pass Tkachuk. Tkachuk moving in. Score! 3rd point for Tkachuk.
The Penguins would manage to get 1 before the end of the period. So 4 goals in the second period for the Panthers. And the Panthers, they would go up 5-1 with the second goal of the game, 6th of the season from Anton Lundell. The Penguins would add 1 more. 5-2 final. Panthers win. And now tonight, They are in Buffalo. Sabres are not any good. Sam Reinhart against his old team. Reinhart, 39 goals. He did not score last night. I'll give you another pick that I made on Driving the Line this morning. How about this? Sam Reinhart, over half a goal. Yep. Let's go with Sam Reinhart scoring tonight. Sam Reinhart, over half a goal. It's plus 115. And here's my rationale. Over his last 21 games, Sam Reinhart has 21 goals. He didn't score last night. He's due. That's a good thing. He didn't score any of those 5 goals last night. Still, 21 goals in his last 21 games. I love Sam Reinhart tonight at his old team to get his 40th goal of the season. How you love that? So the Panthers, they get the win last night. That team is fucking awesome. I love them. I love them. And of course, you had the double dip where the Heat started 7. This was a back and forth game. So it's actually a really good game. And yes, the Sixers are obviously without Joel Embiid. But look, the Heat are on the second night of a back-to-back. No Jimmy Butler. No Terry Rozier. So it's a tight game. You actually had a huge shot from Tyler Hero late, which put the Heat up 6 with about a minute and a half to go. Hero led the Heat with 23. Bam had 23 points and 13 rebounds. I think the big story, though, Duncan Robinson, back-to-back nights, big performances, over 20 points, both of these last 2 games. Last night, he had 20 again. He was 5 of 7 from 3. The night before in Milwaukee, he was 6 of 8 from 3, 23 points. So, they got to find a way, not for Duncan to play more, but I wish there was a way they could have Duncan in the starting lineup and Tyler come off the bench. Doesn't mean that Tyler doesn't finish the game. You want to finish with all the scorers out there, all right? Rozier, Hero, Butler, Robinson, Adebayo. And if not Robinson there, or if not Hero, you can go Martin because of defense. But when Robinson is on the floor, he was the best last night for the Heat, plus 14. He really stretches the floor for this team. And I love the idea of Hero with that second unit, especially right now with Josh Richardson out. But at this point in his career, and at this point in the season, they're not moving Hero to the bench. Like, it's going to feel like a demotion. It's going to look like a demotion. It's just going to be up to Coach Spo to rotate the players accordingly, where maybe Tyler leaves 5 minutes into the game to take his first breather. Duncan then comes in. Tyler returns into the first quarter. It's going to be up to Spo to rotate the lineup accordingly so you have as many shooters on the floor as possible. And by the way, I'm only saying that when Rozier returns, because we know Rozier is going to start. The backcourt right now of Hero and Robinson together is fantastic because you have so much scoring out there. There's so much shooting out there. These guys spread the floor. But once Rozier comes back, I hate the idea of Robinson going to the bench. Nikola Jovic last night, coming off the huge performance, 24 points the night before. He only had 3, but that doesn't worry me at all. Clearly, the team knows what they're doing with him. And the bench was great last night. Haywood Highsmith, Jaime Jaquez Jr., who's in the dunk contest this weekend. How you load that? So, overall, the Heat go into the All-Star break. Winners of 5 of 7. They're 30-25 on the year now. And you get a little bit of a break now. We're hoping that Rozier could be back either right after the All-Star break or soon after the All-Star break. Same thing with Jimmy. I would expect him to be back soon as well. And the Heat are even in the loss column right now with number 6 Indiana. Pacers are 31-25. Heat are 30-25. It's going to be, well, just say it's going to be tough to catch Philly. Maybe not, because with Embiid out, they're 3 back of Philly in the loss column. They actually should be able to catch Philly. So I think it's going to be very tough to catch New York, Milwaukee, although New York 0-5 since the trade deadline. They're very banged up. They need the All-Star break bad. If the Heat, I think the goal here, the second half of the season, you're not going to catch top 3, which is Boston, Cleveland, Milwaukee. I think the goal has to be get to that 5 seed. Get to that 5 seed and potentially play the New York Knicks in the first round. I mean, that's what we're talking about, right? And this does feel like those late 90s Knicks teams. Last year was a great series. I think the goal for the Heat the second half here is you want to try and get to that 5 seed. The 5 seed with Indiana in a tie right now in the loss column and no Embiid, even though you're 3 games back, I think the goal is going to be catching Philadelphia for the number 5 seed here in the second half of the season. We know Eric Spoelstra teams are great in the second half of the year, and this is a Heat team that has faced a ton of adversity injury-wise here in the first half and still sit 30-25. They were 32-27 at the All-Star break last year. So 4 fewer games, but better record, all right? 30-25 heading into the All-Star break. And what are we talking? 27 games remaining. So can this team get to 48-ish wins? That's 18-9 the rest of the way. 48 wins, 18-9 the rest of the way. Do I have that right? Yeah, I believe so. I would say that's doable. Here's going to be the big key. The Heat are great on the road. 15-12. 15-13 home. That's not going to cut it. Gotta be better at home. So if we take a look at what the Heat's schedule looks like immediately after the break, next Friday, they're at New Orleans, then at Sacramento, at Portland, at Denver. That's a tough trip. New Orleans is really good. Sacramento's pretty good. We know who Denver is. That's a tough trip. You want to come out of that trip 2-2. Then you come home for Utah and Detroit. Then at Dallas, at Oklahoma City. So, I'll tell you something. These 8 games coming right out of the break. This is no joke. So, rest up during the All-Star break. Hopefully come back a little healthier. Add Jimmy. Hopefully add Terry Rozier. Because these 8 games coming out of the break, again, I'll repeat it for you. Right out of the break, 4-game trip. New Orleans, Sacramento, Portland, Denver. Then you come home for 2 against Utah and Detroit. And then you're at Dallas and at Oklahoma City. Then the schedule softens up a bit for the next week or 2 after that. But 8 games right out of the shooting of the All-Star break. That's no joke. Tell you what else is no joke. When you're thinking about getting a new home, you want to make sure you go to a trusted real estate broker. Someone who's going to be able to help you get the home that you're looking for at the best price out there in the neighborhood. Someone who knows the area. And that's why I send you to one of our great sponsors from my wrestling podcast, It's Still Real to Me. Your trusted real estate broker is Matthew H. Maschler, Signature Real Estate Finder. If you're looking for your dream home in any part of beautiful South Florida, look no further than Matthew H. Maschler. You call him today, you tell him exactly what you're looking for. 561-208-3334. 561-208-3334. Go to realestatefinder.com. Maybe you have properties, you're looking to unload it. Maybe you figure, you know what? Now is the time to sell. Need a little bit of extra money. Matthew H. Maschler, your trusted real estate broker, will help you sell your current property. Maybe you're just you're already in the business. Maybe you're just ready to join the Signature team, ready to take your real estate career to the next level. The Signature Real Estate companies are South Florida's industry leaders, ranked number 1 in Boca Raton, one of the tops in the entire state of Florida, with offices all throughout, including Delray Beach, Coral Springs, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Naples, Orlando. The Signature team is where you want to be. So whether you're buying your dream home, you're selling your property, or you're just looking to join the best in the business, Matthew H. Maschler, 561-208-3334, or go to realestatefinder.com. Matthew H. Maschler, your pathway to exceptional real estate experiences.